In general, I'm not a fan of sports metaphors. Well, that's probably because in general, I'm not a big fan of sports. So it's no surprise that I don't appreciate or often understand sports analogies in sermons. If you're a preacher and you want to talk to me, you want to get through to me, you're not going to do it talking about football. But this week, I stumbled across Julie Fournier. She's the founder and CEO of Basketball is Psychology. She writes a blog to improve athletes' performance by training their minds. Now, usually I'd have passed something like this right by, but a quote grabbed my attention. Now, if you're like me with sports metaphors, don't just check out yet. Even I can understand what she says. In an entry dated 17 January of last year, the blog author wrote about the amount of time that basketball players have the ball in their hands. And for most of the game, she says about 95% of it, players do other things. Yet none of those things make the highlight reel of the 6 o'clock news. Things like saving the ball before it goes out of bounds, or setting a great screen, or playing solid defense without fouling. Now, the truth is, I have no idea what any of the words that I just said mean. I'll have to take Julie's word about basketball. But I do recognize what she's getting at. By and large, folk like to make progress. And it's no good wasting time doing stuff that doesn't do that. Don't sweat what the boss won't notice or won't make your year-end review. The test comes when the rubber meets the road. When the opportunity to close the deal or implement the strategy to save the day comes. After all, you've trained for this, and businesses have given you incentive to do well when it counts. Folk are motivated by rewards for good performance. It's hard to get people to do things without them. And it's not just because people are attention-seeking or ego-centered ladder climber types. It's just that folk like to know that what they're doing is valued. Part of a good leader's strategy is thanking folk for doing a good job. Gratitude has a positive effect on people's well-being. Saying thanks shows respect. And it can even get people to do more. But in today's gospel, Jesus breaks the cardinal rule in Human Resource Management Handbook 101. He says, God is not in the business of saying thanks. You're not going to get credit for just doing what's expected. Do what you're told without seeking reward. If you want to work for God, stop keeping score, seeking acknowledgement for what you've done. Keep your head down. Get on with it. Now, broadly speaking, the Christian church has not adopted this philosophy, and it's perhaps no wonder why. It's not exactly an appealing recruitment tactic. Instead, evangelists have opted to market the benefits of involvement with the organization, membership bonuses, as it were. Indeed, there are great rewards for those who follow Jesus, but some might feel they've been given the old bait and switch when it comes to the hard work they discover they have to do. And the really disappointing news? Working harder doesn't earn you more. On this day, the cathedral celebrates Creation Sunday, giving thanks for God's gift of creation and calling folk to renew their commitment to care for this world. And for what? For what reason? For a better future, because maybe the cure for cancer is out there somewhere, or this will be a better place to live? No. While all those things may be true, we as disciples of the Lord are asked to care for creation simply because God calls us to do the work. And this work, it is inconvenient. It involves small, sometimes menial tasks. It is often thankless, without any of the feel-good effect. The undertakings are expensive, and they are often inefficient and slow. Most modern time management gurus would invite us to jettison these activities or maybe outsource them, because people should feel good. They should feel like they're making a difference, not wasting their time. But as Julie Fournier wrote about basketball, you have to be a great player and a hard worker, especially when you don't have the ball. Julie is going to make a basketball fan out of me yet, or at least maybe be okay with sports metaphors, because what she wrote really made an impact on me. She wrote, when you think of someone as a winner, you probably think of someone who scores lots of points. But that's not true, she says. Some people average 30 points a game and never win. If you want to win, you have to be willing to do unglamorous, thankless, hard work. The disciples asked Jesus to increase their faith, to augment their conviction, to boost their performance somehow and give them more assurance. And a thank you, or some encouragement, or maybe even some incentivization might have gone some ways toward doing just that. But that's not the way this works. To achieve lofty goals, we have to perform unpleasant and uninspiring tasks. There are profitless, unremunerative parts to important work. And if we want to take part in the building up of God's kingdom, we must do them.